Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. I know it's a long night. I appreciate your continued interest. We've got some good people, some of you came up ways to testify, so I really appreciate your concern. I'm very excited to introduce House Bill 7585. The goal of this bill, as the chairman said, is to open up net metering to off-site generation. And by doing so, to significantly increase opportunities for renewable energy development in our state and to significantly expand who can access that renewable energy. I'm sure most of you understand the basics of net metering. I just want to give a little context for this bill and what we hope it can achieve for Rhode Island. Our current net metering law is designed to allow people or institutions who put up renewable energy development to receive credit back in exchange for the excess energy that project delivers into the grid, which the utility can then sell to other customers. And as you can imagine, that really helps the economics of these projects, and that's a very good thing because this kind of distributed generation has immense ratepayer and systems benefits. For example, distributed generation systems are sited closer to the electric load, so the system saves money on reduced energy loss during transmission, saves money on reduced need for expensive transmission and distribution infrastructure investments. And while, from the perspective of utility profits, that might not be ideal because they have an interest in some of those investments. From the perspective of ratepayers who have to pay for those investments, it certainly is a good deal. Another example, distributed generation systems are mostly paid for by individual customers, so we're generating private investment for public benefit at a fraction of the cost of utility scale projects. These developments are great for our local economy. We've heard a lot about this sector, how it's growing faster than the rest of our economy. They bring federal tax credits home to Rhode Island. These are local projects with local labor, so there's economic benefits for the host communities. Obviously, they're clean and efficient, so there aren't the environmental justice, air quality concerns that a lot of utility scale developments have. And maybe most importantly, I really want to stress this, the vast majority of objective analyses of the costs and the benefits of these systems find that clean distributed generation produces net benefits that are greater than the retail cost of electricity. So the claim, which I don't know if we'll hear tonight, but the claim that net metering is a subsidy to renewables that's greater than the fair valuation, that has no basis, there's no evidence for that. If anything, it is the customer who puts up a net metering system that is subsidizing the utility, not the other way around. So, in a nutshell, that is net metering and why, from pretty much every perspective, we should want to see more of it. The problem right now is that our current law prohibitively keeps out too many people and institutions from taking advantage of this policy. Right now, net metering only applies for a renewable project that is physically on your property. But there are obviously so many opportunities for development that don't fit into that little box. For example, only around 1/4 of rooftops in Rhode Island right now are appropriate or eligible for solar systems, whether because of shading or not owner-occupied or angling, etc. So right off the bat, we are excluding 3/4 of Rhode Islanders from joining this market. The same can be said similarly for small wind generation. So by expanding net metering to include off-site generation, which is pretty much the entirety of what this bill does, we can ensure that every business, every nonprofit, every Rhode Islander has access to clean, reliable, cheaper, renewable energy. That means a lot more demand for these projects, which means more hiring, more jobs, more businesses to step up to fill that demand, and more clean energy distributed right in the grid where it's needed. There's one more important thing that means. Off-site net metered systems can be designed to serve multiple customers. So that's good for prices because projects can take advantage of economies of scale which increase the ratio of benefits to costs. But even more importantly, that's really good from an equity lens. By serving multiple customers, off-site net metered systems provide a way for low-income Rhode Islanders, for renters to join together on community renewable projects that they otherwise would never be able to site, would never be able to afford. I hear the argument all the time that clean energy that's just for the wealthy, low-income families that they don't really care about that, they don't want to touch that. I think it's absurd to say that working families don't have just as much to gain, don't actually have more to gain from cheap, clean energy. But the fact is right now, their access to it is very limited. And so, as we're transitioning to a clean energy economy, we can't leave anyone behind. And that's why it's really important that we expand virtual net metering to allow renters and low-income Rhode Islanders to take advantage of it. So that's House Bill 7585. Before I close, very briefly, I want to add there's one section of the legislation that I would like to see amended if this bill were to move forward. The section begins on page 4, line 34. It basically says the PUC should evaluate the costs and benefits of distributed generation and devise a credit or a charge based on that. After some discussions with folks in the industry, I think that section should be removed as the PUC will be doing that valuation study soon anyway, and so it doesn't really make sense to preemptively create any uncertainty for developments that are already underway. So I think the benefits of off-site net metering are clear. It's the right thing to do. It's the smart thing to do, and I hope that we can consider this carefully and hopefully make it happen.
Thank you. Question?